Right now, your brain is lying to you, not occasionally, not in moments of weakness or confusion, constantly, systematically, with breathtaking precision and zero apology. Every sight you see, every sensation you feel, every sound you hear, every memory you trust, all of it processed and filtered with the outside world. Your brain has never seen a sunrise. It has never heard music. It has never felt rain on skin. It lives in total darkness inside a sealed bone chamber, receiving nothing but electrical signals. And from those signals, it constructs an entire reality and spent your whole life mistaking it for the truth. And here is the part that should stop you cold. It cannot tell the difference between what is real and what is not. Not metaphorically, not philosophically, neurologically. The same circuits that fire when something actually happens to you fire with nearly identical intensity when you vividly imagine it happening. The same chemical responses flood your body whether the threat is standing in front of you or existing only in your mind. The same neural architecture that encodes real memories also encodes false ones, and it stores them with equal confidence, equal detail, and equal emotional weight. You are not experiencing reality. You are experiencing your brain's best guess at reality, and that guess is shaped by your fears, your history, your desires, your traumas, and the stories you have been telling yourself since the day you were born. To understand how deep this goes, you need to understand something fundamental about how your brain actually works. Your brain is not a camera. It does not passively record what is happening in front of you and play it back faithfully. It is a prediction machine, a hypothesis engine. Before any sensory information even reaches your conscious awareness, your brain has already made a prediction about what that information is going to say, and then it adjusts the incoming signal to match that prediction. Neuroscientist Anil Seth at the University of Sussex has spent decades studying the neuroscience of consciousness and perception. His research has produced one of the most unsettling conclusions in modern science. What you experience as reality, Seth argues, is a controlled hallucination. Your brain is constantly generating a model of the world, constantly comparing that model to the signals coming in from your senses, and constantly updating, but the model always comes first. Perception, he says, is not about passively receiving the world. It is about actively constructing it. This means that what you see right now is not what is actually there. It is what your brain predicted would be there, slightly corrected by the actual incoming data. Think about that for a moment. You are not looking at the world. You are looking at your brain's prediction of the world, with reality making minor edits at the edges. And this prediction system, as sophisticated as it is, makes catastrophic errors. In the 1990s, neuroscientist Alvaro Pascual-Leone conducted a landmark experiment at Harvard Medical School that would change how scientists understood the boundary between real and imagined experience. He took two groups of people who had never played piano before. One group physically practiced a simple 5-finger piano exercise for 2 hours a day over 5 days. The other group sat at a piano and did nothing but imagine playing the same exercise, mentally rehearsing every finger movement, every note, every sequence, but never physically touching the keys. At the end of 5 days, he scanned the brains of both groups. The results were almost identical. The physical region of the brain that controls finger movement had expanded and reorganized in both groups at nearly the same rate. The group that had only imagined playing the piano had developed the same neural architecture as the group that had actually played it. Their brains had physically changed in response to something that never physically happened. Your brain does not know the difference between doing something and vividly imagining doing it. It responds to both as if they are equally real. It rewires itself around both. It stores both as experience. This is not a bug, it is a feature. It is the same mechanism that allows athletes to use mental rehearsal to improve physical performance. It is the same mechanism that allows musicians to practice in their heads and wake up better than they were the night before. It is the same mechanism that allows surgeons to run through complex procedures mentally before ever making an incision. But it is also the same mechanism that makes anxiety disorders so devastating, the same mechanism that makes trauma so persistent, the same mechanism that makes phobias so irrational and yet so immovable. Because your brain cannot tell the difference between the thing that hurt you and the vivid memory of the thing that hurt you. Every time you relive a traumatic memory, your brain releases the same stress hormones it released during the original event. Every time you vividly imagine a future threat, your nervous system responds as if that threat is present. The body keeps the score, as psychiatrist Bessel van der Kolk famously wrote, and it keeps the score because the brain never learned to distinguish the memory from the moment. Now take this deeper, because it does not stop at imagination. Your memories are not recordings. This is perhaps the most disturbing truth in all of cognitive neuroscience. Every time you retrieve a memory, you do not play back a stored file the way a computer retrieves data. You reconstruct the memory from fragments. You rebuild it from pieces, some accurate, some distorted, some borrowed from other memories, some filled in by your current emotional state, your current beliefs, and the story you currently need the memory to tell. And every time you retrieve it, you change it. The act of remembering alters the memory. You store the altered version. The next time you remember it, you are remembering the altered version, not the original event. And you alter it again. Elizabeth Loftus, cognitive psychologist at the University of California, Irvine, and one of the world's leading experts on memory, has spent 50 years demonstrating this in laboratory conditions that should disturb every single person who has ever been confident about something they remember. In her experiments, she has shown repeatedly that false memories can be implanted in people's minds through suggestion alone. People can be made to remember events that never happened, childhood accidents, getting lost in a shopping mall, encounters with animals, in vivid, confident, emotional detail. They do not feel like false memories. They feel exactly like real ones. Because to the brain, they are. There is no internal signal that says this memory is accurate and this one is not. There is no flag that marks a real experience and a constructed one. Your brain stores them all in the same place, with the same confidence, and retrieves them with the same certainty. Every memory you are certain of has been altered. Every memory you feel strongly about has been shaped by emotion, expectation, and repetition. Every story you tell about your own life has been edited, not deliberately, not dishonestly, but neurologically, automatically, inevitably. You are not remembering your life. You are narrating it. And you are changing the story every time you tell it. But perhaps nowhere is this more consequential than in the realm of emotion. Your brain does not simply feel emotions in response to what is happening. It predicts emotions. It generates emotional states based on past experience, current context, and anticipated outcome, and then it interprets incoming data through the lens of that emotional prediction. Lisa Feldman Barrett, neuroscientist and professor at Northeastern University, and author of some of the most important research on the construction of emotion in the past 2 decades, has shown that emotions are not universal biological states that happen to you. They are constructed experiences that your brain creates based on a combination of bodily sensation, past learning, and cultural context. This means that what you feel in any given moment is not a direct readout of reality. It is your brain's interpretation of ambiguous physical signals, filtered through everything you have ever experienced, everything you expect to feel, and the story you are currently telling about what is happening. 2 people can experience the same event and feel completely different emotions, not because one of them is wrong, but because their brains are constructing different emotional realities from the same raw data. Your anger might be fear. Your grief might be relief. Your love might be familiarity. Your certainty might be confirmation bias dressed in the costume of intuition. You are not feeling what is real. You are feeling what your brain has constructed from its best available interpretation of an ambiguous and incomplete signal. And in the age of artificial intelligence, deepfakes, synthetic media, and algorithmically curated realities, this vulnerability has never been more dangerous. Your brain evolved to construct reality from incomplete sensory data in an environment where the data, however incomplete, was at least genuine. The rustling in the grass was either wind or a predator. The face approaching was either someone you knew or a stranger. The information you received from your environment was real, even if your interpretation of it was imperfect. It did not evolve for a world where the rustling in the grass has been engineered by an algorithm, where the face on your screen was generated by artificial intelligence, where the emotional response you are feeling right now was deliberately manufactured by a team of engineers who studied your neurological vulnerabilities and designed a system to exploit them. Your brain cannot tell the difference. It was not built to. And the systems being built right now are being optimized specifically around that inability. The images feel real because your visual cortex cannot distinguish high-resolution synthetic imagery from photographs. The voices feel real because your auditory processing system was built to recognize patterns of human speech, not to detect the imperceptible artifacts of neural network synthesis. The emotional responses feel real because your limbic system responds to the content of a stimulus, not its origin. Fake grief feels like real grief. Synthetic outrage produces the same cortisol spike as genuine threat. A fabricated memory, once implanted and rehearsed, becomes neurologically indistinguishable from a lived experience. So what do you do with this? The answer is not to distrust everything. A brain in a permanent state of perceptual doubt cannot function. You cannot second-guess every sensory input and survive. The prediction machine has to keep predicting. But you can develop what neuroscientists and philosophers call epistemic humility, a deep, practiced awareness that your perception is a construction, that your memory is a narrative, that your emotions are predictions, and that the certainty you feel about any of these things is not evidence of their accuracy. You can slow down before reacting to something that triggers a strong emotional response and ask whether the response is coming from the present reality or from a past pattern your brain is superimposing on the current moment. You can recognize that the memories you are most certain of are the ones most likely to have been altered by repetition and emotional charge. You can understand that the content that makes you feel the most, the outrage, the fear, the tribal certainty, has most likely been engineered to exploit the exact vulnerability that makes your brain so powerful and so fragile at the same time. Because the most sophisticated manipulation does not target your reasoning. It targets your perception. It does not try to convince you of something false. It makes you feel something real in response to something fake. And once you feel it, the feeling becomes its own evidence. Your brain is the most extraordinary object in the known universe. It has built civilizations and composed symphonies and mapped the cosmos and connected 7 billion people across a single invisible network. And it cannot tell the difference between what is real and what is not. That is not a flaw to be ashamed of. It is a truth to be understood. Because the moment you understand how your reality is constructed, you gain something almost no one around you has. You gain the ability to question the construction. Right now, your brain is lying to you. Now you know why. And knowing why is the only place the truth can begin. This is unlearned, everything they never taught you. If this video cracked something open inside you, subscribe to this channel. Every single day we go deeper into the hidden truths behind why you think, feel, and perceive the world the way you do. Hit subscribe and join the Unlearned family. The knowledge they never gave you is waiting.